All right, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jason Levine and I'm here with Adobe Creative Resident, Tyler Babin. Great to see you, Tyler.
Great to be here.
We are live from Adobe MAX 2019, where we've been broadcasting all day. And of course, now this is the last stream for today, but we'll be back tomorrow between 10 and 5:30. So much more to come, so much creativity, so much incredible stuff, new stuff happening here at MAX. Now today, we're going to focus on Rush, and I made actually on stage today.
Yep.
Some cool announcements with regard to Rush and Premiere Pro. So Tyler has been kind of shooting stuff in and around Max all day today.
I have.
Among your 15,000+ friends who've joined us. And was just going to sort of take us through a workflow to inspire you to start using Rush. Now here's the thing, if you're not already using it, not only is it available on Mac OS and Windows, it is also available for iOS and Android. So you want to be sure to go to the appropriate app stores for each of those platforms, download it, and start shooting and creating and sharing today, including one of the new destinations, which is TikTok, which is pretty freaking cool.
Super exciting.
Right?
So good.
So all your favorites are there. We make it super simple, and Tyler is going to wow you now with not only how easy it is, but how you can get really stylistic, like all the content that you produce, which I love, and give everyone some tips and tricks along the way.
That's what we're going to do.
Sweet.
Absolutely. So we're going to dive into Rush. Throughout today, even from leaving my hotel, walking over this morning, I just filmed a handful of clips on my phone. And now we're going to try and craft a little bit of a stylistic story of my day.
Okay.
And I really want to give sort of a from the bottom all the way up in case it's your first time diving into Rush.
Yeah, definitely. Now Rush also has like a tutorial built in.
Of course. And it'll take you through all the way, but I'm going to show you how I would set up a personal project and how I would craft together a cinematic Instagram story.
Love it.
We're going to call it.
Love it. And of course, if you've got questions and things, we've got our live chat here, so chime in, let us know where you're from, let us know what you're thinking, and Tyler and I can answer them along the way.
Amazing.
All right, man, take it away.
All right, here we are. So, first time you guys boot up Rush, you won't have these extra projects. You'll have a test project in there, but we're going to create a new project from the ground up. So we will be down here at our plus button. We're going to add in some media, and I'm going to go through and make some selections of the clips I've shot today. The thing I really like about Rush is it creates a timeline for you based off the clips in the order you select them.
Right.
So I know the order that I shot these clips today, but if I wanted to go through and craft a story, I could go through and select them in a numerical order that will be imported in the order I clicked them. Now,
I love that you're using the Apple Pencil with it too, actually.
Absolutely. I think just for the overall accuracy of being able to grab onto those clips, you'll see whenever we start messing with handlebars.
When you start trimming and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
This just makes my workflow a little bit easier. And I don't know, there's something about, in the keynote today, there was a line that I loved about being closer to the pixels. Like there's something about like using a pen and a tablet that to me is just a fun workflow.
Right, okay, cool, yeah.
So we're gonna grab these clips, start dragging them in.
Nice.
We'll name our project Rush just for today. Now the great thing about Rush is that we're going to start our project here, but it's going to sync across all of our Creative Cloud apps so that if I get to the hotel room tonight and realize I want to change something, I can open up my laptop, I can be on my phone, whatever it may be.
Yeah. And that's kind of key to the workflow, which is you can start here, you can really finish anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and the really great thing is we can dive into finishing in Premiere Pro itself and being able to use some of the amazing new features that were announced today.
Which is a whole additional level of workflow stuff that we'll save for another live stream. Yeah.
All right, so here we are. We are landed in Rush. We have our first timeline that's been built out automatically with these clips in the order. We'll zoom in. We can start scrubbing through these a little bit. This is my famous foot shot that I always
That's
open
right.
up.
That's kind of a signature.
It's kind of my thing, yeah. I'm going to mute this audio for now, and I'm going to let some of this scrub through. So this is me walking out of my hotel room this morning in the middle of downtown LA. Got some palm trees.
This is all just iPhone?
Yeah. iPhone 10 straight. The cool thing, I believe this out of speed was shot just natively in the app, but Rush's built-in capture abilities to be able to adjust settings makes it extremely, extremely valuable.
So if we get some time towards the end, I want to re-emphasize that, and I mentioned it on stage today. Yeah. If you use the native Rush camera, it turns your iPhone, or in this case iPad, into a fully manual 4K, 2K camera. So you can change frame rate right there. You can change shutter speed. You can adjust exposure bias. You can, I mean,
it's a real camera.
It's a real camera at that point.
It gives you an insane amount of options. specifically, I love shooting at 120 frames per second.
Totally,
That's
absolutely.
like my life, and so being able to shoot natively in the camera and have full control is very, very valuable.
Yep.
So you can see something, I had an interesting idea. As I was walking, I decided I wanted to get a little bit more creative with some transitions, and so as I play this clip through, you're gonna see I started doing some whip pan action that I thought would be a good kind of stylistic thing. So I show the max, and then I swing the camera down pretty quickly. We can then go in and find a good transition point. We're gonna get rid of this clip. Delete this guy. Now on its own, these aren't gonna be smooth transitions at the moment, but we'll be able to just trim a little bit back and forth and get a pretty seamless effect here. So I'm gonna go through.
So I got to ask, who do you remember? I mean, and I've seen it in yours. And was there anyone that you saw who started doing this kind of a technique? Everybody does, you know, some people do the hand on the lens thing.
Yeah.
TikTok has the just jump up and down into transition.
Yeah.
Is there anything, or anyone, or any YouTuber, someone that you remember who kind of birthed that idea?
You know, it's an effect that is very, very popular now. A lot of people are using it. I think the first person I saw use these types of creative transitions a lot was Sam Polder.
Okay, yeah.
Who's a YouTuber travel filmmaker.
Yep.
He was sort of the first one to like really start messing with it, and then he's gone into a whole other realm now. But it's still, you know, there's something about this that you're not going to see in every single Instagram story. So if you're trying to stand out, this is kind of a great jumping off point.
And what I've noticed in yours, you bring a uniqueness to this, and I guess that's something cool too, which is that everybody kind of has their own different. And your camera movement is also just super slick. I don't know if you were shooting this with a gimbal or anything.
I wasn't.
Okay.
This is all handheld.
It's just handhelds, but you can get really creative with these types of transitions because, of course, we have native transitions in the app, but you know, cross dissolves are. Well, there's a famous old expression which is if you can't resolve it, dissolve it. It's probably not going to resonate with anybody, but you know, they're okay, but they're not creative, right? They're overused, and this allows you to really make something unique.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
make
it's just anything that you can create in camera, I think, is also amazing.
Yeah.
So I like that all of this motion that we're doing of whipping back and forth at the start and end of these frames. There's not an extra plug-in. There's nothing we really have to do. This is just about syncing up the timing of the cuts and making sure that it looks super seamless.
Okay. Yeah.
So let's see, we trimmed this one. It's a little short. Let's hold this back. I'm gonna drag this back out. This is kind of like a finessing, kind of the constant going back and forth, making sure that we're lining up.
And now I'm seeing why you're using the pencil, why it's actually so essential.
Right.
I'm the first to say that as a piano player, my fingers.
And I'm not super delicate.
It's hard to be so delicate, you know. I love that.
Cool, so we trimmed the front end of these clips, and now if we watch the playback, we'll see this is kind of a really quick sort of seamless
and
look.
It's really seamless. I mean, even though it's completely separate shots.
100%, but it blurs all together. And so I did a handful of these throughout the day to make sure that the whole sort of effect stayed consistent. So now if we go to the end of this clip, we're just gonna hold, drag on over to trim. And I also like the gapless timeline of Premiere Rush, I should say, because if you're new, especially, you know, just getting into editing, it can be really overwhelming having so much freedom and flexibility in Premiere. This is a really good kind of jumping off point. We're gonna come here. And now if we watch this whole sequence all the way from me walking into the auditorium today, transition 1, and then we're gonna do transition 2. These were duplicate shots, but you can still see the effect going from one shot to another.
There's actually something really spacey and cool about that. Actually.
Yeah, 100%. And we could also, you know, it might be interesting if we select and scale up a little bit. I don't know how this will work, but this might be kind of to add a little bit of finesse.
Emphasis and finesse,
You know, we could zoom into the sign here.
And you're just doing all of that. You've just got it down, man. You just got like.
Yeah, you gotta make the movements as smooth as you can, just like lock in.
And that's really inspirational because I hear from people all the time, like, what kind of, you know, gimbals, really good gimbals are expensive. I mean, there's some that are okay, that are less expensive, but
I've never used a gimbal once in my entire career.
Wow, okay. And I hear this and I'm telling people, look, like, I see this, I'm like, you don't need it.
100%.
You just gotta kind of get it down. You gotta get the technique down.
So here's kind of an interesting thing. I wanted, again, I'm experimenting with some creative shots here.
Right.
I shot everything vertical, and now
Yes.
again, the great thing about Rush is we do have this little icon here that allows us to
Right.
adjust. I knew that I was trying to attempt to make a Instagram story, so I natively shot everything, but I did confuse the camera at one point here, and it thought I was holding horizontal. So a
Right.
quick way to select this is we can grab it here. We do have the ability to just pinch and zoom,
So cool.
make everything really smooth. Now this is kind of a weird,
It's pretty cool.
it's pretty cool, right?
It's actually pretty cool.
We can also, not forgetting over here on the right-hand side, we have all kinds of different sections we can get into, speed, things like that. In the crop feature, if you didn't want to pinch and zoom this, we could easily select this clip. We can adjust our horizontal position,
Nice.
vertical position, and then also rotation. So if we want to really dial this in, we have that option.
Yeah. And it just, I guess it's one of those, it's optimized for touch if you feel super comfortable and you've just done it
Yeah.
enough where you know. But if not, you've got sliders that give you pinpoint
100%.
level accuracy.
Again, I like to usually start with hands because it makes me
Right.
feel like I'm working with my hands,
Right.
and then can go in and like really dial in
It
everything.
brings the
later.
tactile nature of editing back to the surface, you know.
Exactly.
Super cool.
So here, I'm gonna cut in some clips and change some things around because I just found this section. There's an amazing wall out at the front where
Yeah,
everyone's signing
super
their
cool.
names, and so this is a really convenient transition to work on. So, mega selection here. This is a cool clip, but I don't think it fits the edit I'm going for, so I'm gonna make some deletions.
Now, though, this is a question that we get asked a lot, which
Yeah.
is you delete it in the timeline, but it's still in your project.
Absolutely.
It's still-
So it's
yeah.
all non-destructive.
Right.
So at any point we can go over to our bin and we can access all the project assets.
Nice.
So if I decide that I do want to pull that clip in later,
Yep,
we
it's
go in
always
here.
available to you.
Absolutely. This is kind of cool. So now if we watch this, it's kind of, we have a story that's starting to build out, right? I'm walking out, I'm into the convention center, I'm showing some details around. This shot kind of takes a while to get through though. And again, I only have 15 seconds, so maybe we can make a speed adjustment here, kind of whip us through a little bit faster.
Right.
So if we go over here to the right, this little speedometer, and let's see, like right about here, we can start speeding up a little bit. So all we're gonna do is drag our range, and this is telling Rush at what section we want the speed adjustment to start happening.
And it snaps to your cursor, which is super useful, super handy.
fast.
Yep.
We're gonna bring this on back. And then my favorite thing, and I'm so excited that this is built in, is the ramp feature.
Yes.
Because it makes everything so much smoother.
Yep.
So what I'm gonna show you guys is if we go in here, we're gonna speed up this section. Let's watch this without the ramp as it starts right now. Goes in very, very quick. It's a fast ramp. We're gonna pull this down a little bit so it's not quite so speedy. Gets in here. We're gonna select our ramp. And now if you look down here at this blue timeline,
Yep.
you'll see it's hard edges on both sides. But as soon as we click the ramp icon, it creates a little new shape for
Yep,
us.
super cool.
And what this is gonna do is ease us in and make that, it's kind of jarring to go
Right.
from 100% to 1,000% immediately.
Sometimes stylistic, sometimes
Yeah.
you want that extreme
Absolutely.
motion, but it's an ease basically. And you've got
100%.
controls for the amount of time for the ramp as well, based on
Exactly.
the clip.
So we're gonna go in here, let's see, we'll play through. And this makes it just a really smooth transition. It gets us through this section a lot faster. Closing out the transition here. And then, oh, did you see this guy out front today?
Oh
doing
yeah.
doodling?
Oh my God. And he's dressed in the suit too, which is so crazy.
Absolutely, this was amazing. It was
Yeah.
really exciting. And then I knew, giving the thought process here, I had walked through, I saw the carpet was black. I knew that it was gonna end on a black frame. We drag this out a little bit. And so I made a point somewhere, let's see. I might have brought this in at a different point. I'm gonna grab.
Now, when you're shooting stuff like this, I mean, how much of that you're obviously doing quite a bit of pre-production in your head. You're thinking
Yeah.
like, all right, I'm going to black, next scene has to
Exactly.
come out of something similar or solid color or maybe not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but are you doing a lot of kind of mental
100%.
pre-production? Yeah.
So I think it's less pre-production, and anytime I'm recording and I stop a clip, I'm
Right.
like, what's the best point to start this up at? As I'm
Mindful of the-
constantly
yeah.
trying to think of things in terms of transitions.
That makes sense.
So if we look here, this shot ended as I panned down to the carpet. So the next shot is I found a sign that was over by this guy working. I held the camera up really close to it, so we started out on a black frame.
So cool. Lisa Dabbs is saying, is it best to start with multiple clips, not one longer video? For one, I like the shorter clip idea.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of short clips because you can always add in more later.
Right.
You can't, it's harder to go backwards. So, you know, always make sure you're keeping it manageable for yourself.
Exactly. From a very technical standpoint, Lisa, the truth is if you've got one super long clip, not that you can't do exactly what Tyler's doing now, you're just going to have to put a lot more cuts in there. But in terms of synchronizing to Creative Cloud and just between devices, it's just going to take a little bit longer to upload and optimize one long clip versus, in this case, 16 shorter clips. That's really it. It's kind of a personal choice. I will tell you that there was a time where pretty much everything I did was just one long take. I was way into that.
Yeah.
Not a popular thing,
It's
really.
not at all.
No.
It depends. Well, I guess it depends on.
It depends what you're doing too.
Yeah, of course, and how much time you want to dedicate into the post-production side of things.
Right.
If I'm working on a episode of my documentary series, I almost never want to click it to stop recording. I want everything captured.
Capture everything. Right.
But I know what I'm signing up for at that point.
Right. And that's actually a great point. If you're doing, editorial interview style, sure, you're going to use longer takes because your answer, you just want everything to be there so that you have options. For something like this, where ahead of time you're going to be cutting back and forth, and it's a showcase, it makes sense to keep them shorter, just to make them just more manageable, in the transfer and the upload and everything else.
100%.
Yeah.
So I want to let this play through because I feel like, as it stands right now, we have a good little story of what the early part of my day looked like. So we started outside. We're going to whip transition into the inside where everyone's getting registered for Max, and then we're going to kind of zoom into the signage. We're transitioning over to this Illustrator, and then we transition into our keynote at Max. Now I think since we kind of have this dialed in, we can start messing with some different effects.
Nice.
How can we spice this up a little bit further? The first thing I want to do is start working on some color. So here we go, we're at the beginning of our sequence. We're gonna open up our color panel, which is these 3 little circle Venn diagrams over here. I love how much Rush has all these built-in LUTs to give you a really great starting point. We have a ton of built-in LUTs. I personally love the cinematic. Yeah. Now, a lot of people might see that and say, all right, that's pretty heavy-handed.
Right.
It's a lot, it's very intense. So we're gonna mess down here with our intensity slider. We can bring this up, we can bring it back down, make it a much more sort of understated look. Right around 50% feels good.
And that's it, right? It's the design is simple. It's like, oh, that's too intense. Oh, there's an intensity slider.
There we go.
It really...
It's as intuitive as it can get.
And cinematic is one of those. I mean, that's designed, that LUT is actually, this specifically designed to work with very flat, low contrast footage. So if you've got something that's already, like, again, straight out of the iPhone,
100%.
it's going to have a lot of contrast, beautiful saturated color. It's going to be very intense.
Yeah.
So that's why that's in there.
Exactly.
Great use of that.
Exactly. Cinematic looks good. I want to check a couple others real quick. Let's see. SL Fuji is also in this one. Oh, I actually really like this bleach effect. And this looks a little bit more natural. If we go back and forth, pull down our intensity a little bit again. Let's see. And I always try and match these colors as much as I can.
Yeah.
This. One of the biggest immediate tells to a higher production value piece of video work is the coloring. And it's why there's an entire industry just wrapped around
grading,
polishing colors in video.
Grading is everything. I mean, that's, actually, and I'm not going to toot your horn here. Well, I am tooting your horn.
Thank you.
It doesn't really translate across continents. You have a very specific look to your videos.
Absolutely.
And it's all about the grade. I know it's shot in New York, so again, it's just the landscape is, but I look at that and I'm like, oh, it is. You have this very analog, glorious, there's this warmth to it, and it's very specifically yours. And that's the thing, is you can customize that color. When you get good at color grading, that can become a signature. I mean, it's definitely a signature part, and your thumbnails too, man.
Thank you.
Your thumbnails, just great color.
It's something, I know we're talking video here, but shifting into real life of Instagram, as soon as I really made a point of auditing my feed and making sure that all the colors matched and it looked very consistent, I noticed that a lot more inbound started coming. Way more
Yeah.
brands were interested because
Right.
whenever you go to someone's Instagram page, if it looks more like a gallery and feels like
Right.
one cohesive piece of work, people are going to be more excited to work with you.
They're going to be more excited. Now,
Absolutely.
Lisa Dabbs was just asking, at the Educator Day session yesterday, the presenter was layering clips. So are you going to do anything on multi-tracks here at all, or an opportunity?
We can dig into it,
Okay,
absolutely.
yeah.
Normally, based off how I'm shooting this, and I know it's going to be a pretty simple layout.
Right.
I don't think it's necessary to go into multi-layers,
Right.
but we are going to add in some titles
Right.
in just a second, which will
And that's what we'll actually use the second
We'll
layer.
break us down.
That's also a great point too. So, again, here we are in vertical, so layering additional videos on top of this necessarily,
maybe not.
maybe not.
But
there's an opportunity.
I
Yeah.
do have one thing I really like using
Yeah.
with Rush. See, we'll select one clip. So let's say it just makes more sense to have both of these clips running at the same time.
Right.
I can select this clip. We're going to drag it up.
Yep.
Place it on top. So now we have two layers. We can't see the one below it, of course. We're going to go back over to this crop feature, and
Yeah.
before how we were talking about adjusting our horizontal
Right.
position, we can drag, leave horizontal there, move this on down. And then in theory, we could have kind of a really interesting look,
Yes.
a little split screen effect that
this
will
is-
also save some time in our edit.
And this is super cool and super stylistic, and you see this a lot, right? I used to do this. I do this still sometimes. It really comes out of, do you know where that sort of split screen thing really sort of originated in popular film? It's the Woodstock movie.
Okay.
1969, y'all. Well, technically released in 1970, shot in 1969, but they did this 3-up thing. And it was a multicam,
Yeah,
but showing all
yeah.
3 parts. And it kind of started this trend. And this I
Absolutely.
love because, right, you're getting to see, multiple things at the same time.
100%.
Keeping it short, keeping it
Yeah.
tight, moving through. And even in vertical, that looks amazing.
Absolutely, and it's actually really cool. If we let it play through, when you combine the transitions that we had already layered in, this is just like, it's cool, it's eye-catching.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about social content in terms of thumb stoppers.
Yeah.
Right, so if people have a million different things a day that they're swiping through, what's just something different that you
Right.
can break it up with? I
love
also, I love kind of starting out and edit, let's see, let's come in here a little bit.
Elizabeth says, sweet. Zombie Army nice. Hello, Zombie Army from Bangladesh. I was just listening to that song of the same name by George Harrison. Recorded at Madison Square Garden in 1971. The concert for Bangladesh. Full of random anecdotes here at Adobe Live.
One little thing I just did, so I went over to the intro of our clip, and if we're talking about thumb-stopping content,
Yeah.
now, don't get me wrong, this might visually not be your style or
Yeah.
aesthetic, and I respect that. I just went up to the front and I made a bunch of one-frame cuts. We'll go through here, we're just using the scissor icon on the left. It creates a new cut for us. And now I want to do something that is really, really eye-catching. Think about it, you're on an Instagram story, you're swiping
Right.
through. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to scale every other frame.
Oh, sick.
So we'll go into this frame, scaling this one up.
And you're just eyeballing the scale here?
I'm
or-
eyeballing because it's only one frame at a time, so they're
Right,
flashing
it's
by.
gonna be, it's a flash.
So if we look at this layout now, we just bumped up our scale, and you could go finesse this a little bit more if you wanted to and really kind of adjust those scales, but we let this play through. It's just something, it's flashy. It's like a glitch on the screen, and it'll catch people's attention, and it'll make them a little bit more interested to watch all the way through.
Dude, I just can't believe how smooth the motion is.
Yeah.
You're like a human gimbal.
That's what I'm working towards.
Yeah.
I try to put that on LinkedIn.
And I'm loving this. That was such a great idea to layer those. We weren't even going to do
I
that.
know,
originally.
it was
It
completely
worked out
by
great.
accident. I mean, happy accidents are everything, and this is why like video editing should be
Yeah.
so much just experimentation, testing different things, and we have a real cool sequence now. So it takes us all the way from inside over into walking into the Max
nice.
auditorium. This is cool. I want to add in some titles though. So we're going to zoom in and give some context. If you don't know I'm at Max, you might have no idea where I am.
Right.
So we're going to go over here to our title icon. We have a ton of built-in motion graphics templates that save so much time. I personally have avoided learning motion graphics
Right.
for essentially my entire career, and now I'm using motion in everything.
Right.
It's all just built in.
Because we built them, and you have many more available to you in Adobe stock as well.
Absolutely. So, and that's a great example. So we
Yeah.
have our styles, and these are the ones I use on a regular basis. If we just tap over to more styles, we instantly have a ton of Adobe stock assets that we can bring in. I actually like this LA vibes. Grab this guy.
Yeah. Now it's worth pointing out too that motion graphics templates in Rush are created on the Premiere side, and of course you can use them and you'll see them in Premiere as well.
Yeah.
In Premiere, should you ever augment your Rush videos, augment your Rush videos with additional motion graphics templates, Premiere can also use After Effects based motion graphics templates. So that's where you can add things like 3D elements and After Effects plugins and other things to just but these are phenomenal, right? These are really fantastic. I mean,
absolutely.
And there's so many free ones. That's one of the things that I like to emphasize is that there's there's just so much free stuff, and they're good. I mean, they're designed by motion designers. They're not like, it's not clip art style. There's really good, useful stuff. Social call-out boxes and very familiar YouTube style motion graphics templates and things.
And it really like, talking about leveling things up and upping the production value, this is eye-catching for clients. If you want to add in motion, it's
that, and that's the
everything.
key, right? You've said it a bunch of times. That's it. You have to grab people's attention. Period. Like, it doesn't matter how great this story is, or if you're going to narrate or whatever.
100%.
If you can't grab them in those first few seconds, they're scrolling on.
Yeah, it's a balance, and you have to play that game in social of like the story has to be there, but you also have to get the attention to be able to tell the story.
To be able to tell the story. Yeah, I love it.
So I actually really like this title we just brought in. We let it play through, and now if you combine this little flicker effect that I added into the beginning with the motion title, I mean, this looks like a real kind of polished thing. It lets us know that we're in LA. I like it, and then I want this to come off right as the transition's happening. So we're going to drag this. And the thing I love is that all of the motion will then be adjusted to whatever time frame I give it.
Yeah, so they're elastic. They're responsive. It's super cool. And Maya, nothing against clip art. You should know, in my head, when I said clip art, I was just having a discussion yesterday with someone about the original Mac, said Gandalf, and we were talking about Mac Paint and Mac Draw and Mac Write, and how Mac Paint used to come with like that original classic clip art. It was like, and it was all monochromes. It was like paintbrushes and toasters and monochromatic dancing characters and All right.
Cool, so we came in, I edited this title, so now we have Los Angeles, we have Adobe MAX, lets people know where I am. If we let this play through, combining all of these different assets now, we have the flicker, we have the color, we have our title. It's gonna transition into a really cool split screen effect, super seamless. We then go in, we're showing our Illustrator, and then finally transitions us fully into the MAX keynote today. And there we go, we have a real story
awesome.
now.
And that template looked pretty darn amazing.
Amazing, and it was the first one I clicked on. It was right there.
And it was real time. I mean, I know we get a lot of questions about some of the templates, and like, again, you were kind of scrubbing through it to let it cache the frames to play. It's like a best practice, right?
Yeah, just giving whatever device you're on a little bit more time to just process all the information that's going on.
I mean, it's
always going to just help.
It's animated graphics, so and you're augmenting. It's a good idea just to scrub through it a little bit, and you'll get best performance, best playback when you do that. All right. What is up, Tim? Steven, so when you were playing with the original Mac as a toddler. If only I were a toddler then, my friend. It's very nice of you to say, Steven. Deb, where can one locate free stock? You should see the stock icon in there.
Yeah, if we're talking about motion graphics in particular, whenever you originally boot up, you're going to be here with your styles. These are all the built-in motion graphics directly in Rush. And then if you just go over to more titles, that's where you're going to start sourcing different titles from stock. And you're going to pull in all these different options.
And they're constantly uploading new ones in there. By the way, it's worth mentioning, there is an update to Adobe Premiere Rush today. So if you haven't already downloaded it, you want to make sure to update your devices.
And that's what's going to give you that integration with TikTok.
Exactly.
So we're here. I think I'm happy with this. This feels like a solid edit, a solid story that would be fun to throw up on Instagram. And so we can keep dialing in and playing with these effects. But let's get our video out of Rush now and into the programs. So we're gonna go up into our share. And that's it.
That's it, right?
That's amazing.
That's what I said today. You don't even have to think about the export settings because Rush knows what you want. But as you just revealed,
we can click into our quality settings and make adjustments if I wanted to. I can adjust my frame rate, what resolution I'm going at. But again, Rush is built for social first platforms. It knows where it needs to be at, and we can just click export, and it's going to process away.
Yeah. And wow, I mean, it's happening super fast. It's
super quick.
I mean, it's way faster too in the later versions than it
100%.
was in the beginning.
Yeah, stability and speed have really been prioritized on this build, and you can tell it's really running smoothly.
And here's where it gets exciting, right?
This is exciting. So this device isn't linked with any of my socials, but right here we have our immediate ability. Really exciting to see TikTok. We can then load right into TikTok if that's what we want to.
Not on this particular device.
Not on this device.
That's fine.
But not only that, YouTube, Facebook, Behance, wherever I want this video to live, it can live. But the important thing is that now, if I also want to, we can go into our photos.
And there it is.
And we have our export ready to go. It might be, so this one over here. It's being funky on me.
Oh yeah, no, it's playing out.
Oh, it's playing there.
Yeah.
It's playing there.
It's mirroring to the screen.
Got it.
Okay. Flynn Tracy, straight to TikTok. Vudaval, yes. Yes. Zombie Army. Singam Dada, wow. You're right. It is. And it's an exclusive partnership that we're offering right now.
Yeah,
we're the only ones who can publish directly to TikTok.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, you see a lot of stuff that's very derivative, very similar on there. Look at these techniques that he just showed you. Honestly, dude, I mean, good golly, you so quickly. Did I just say good golly also?
You did. I think that dated you again, but it's okay. It's okay.
Oh, it just never ends. No, but in all
Absolutely,
seriousness,
yeah. I mean, it was
so
a
fast.
few minutes, and you have to get a real product.
Wicked, and it looks awesome.
Yeah,
it looks incredible. Now, something we didn't even get to touch on. We've only got 2 more minutes.
Yeah.
Audio. You've got incredible audio stuff in here too.
Yeah, I love audio, and so I'm going to unmute this clip just for the sake of this. We're going to expand these guys, and if we go into our audio waveform. It's really great how many sort of built-in effects we have.
Yeah.
We can adjust, obviously, our clip volume. You can mute it directly in there.
Yeah, and if you change the type, if you change it from music to like voice, you get even more. Yeah,
absolutely. We can balance, reduce echo. All these things are super powerful. One of my favorites is, I wish we had more time to show the voiceover features built in.
You've done the enhanced speech on one of your other Behance lives here. Yeah,
I'm a super big fan. You can switch male to female depending on the speech, and it's really magic.
It just makes it pop, right?
It makes it pop. And for someone who doesn't have a ton of knowledge in audio engineering and making those adjustments, having this all built in just speeds it up and really adds to that production value.
And as someone who is an audio engineer, let me just tell you, this is what you need for publishing to social. This is it. Now again, you can go to Premiere, you have a full mixer, you have all of the native effects with all the control. But this is Sensei based, it's AI based, it is awesome. Thank you, man. It is awesome, and it gets the job done. And this was so cool, dude.
Yeah.
This was awesome. All right, well, we've got about 2 minutes left here. We got 2, 3, they're shaking their head here. Any last minute questions for Tyler? Steven, yes, you do need to try that. I want to just point out too, it's really good for reflective surfaces. Like you were in your that one video, you're in your bedroom, kind of reflective. Again, not like hello, but short reflective.
I mean, I live in a very small apartment, so it's bouncing off a lot of walls.
It gets rid of that bounce and just makes it a little bit more intelligible. Steven says you also need to remove awkward pauses.
That's important.
Now you can do that if you send it to Audition. But that's for another stream as well.
Yeah.
Tim is saying, more audio 101. Yeah, right. To revisit that series, Tim was watching our old, doing our old Twitch series back in the
We
day.
need to get you on TikTok also.
That's right. Oh, yeah. We'll see. In any case, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Tyler, this was so great.
Absolutely.
Man. So great to see you.
So glad to be here.
Have a great rest of your Max. We'll be back here on Adobe Live tomorrow at 10 a.m. Again, 10 till 5:30. You get to see the keynotes, more creatives, more amazing stuff. Always a pleasure to see everyone. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. And we'll see you again next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.